Welcome to Cycles TV. This session of the Market Cycles Report is intended exclusively to provide information and education to help individuals better understand cycles and the markets. However, this information is not to be construed as professional advice as to the buying and selling of securities. In no event does the host express any opinion with respect to, or make recommendations regarding, the purchase or sale of any particular investment instrument. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. Buying or selling decisions are solely within the personal discretion of each individual. And now, enjoy the show. Here is your host.
Welcome to the Foundation for the Study of Cycle, this session of Cycles TV. My name is Lars. Welcome you every week, Monday, same time, same place. Let's discuss some cycles today. I need to announce upfront, this is a recorded session. This is Monday, it's today, but we have announced thunderstorms today outside during exactly the time I would be live. So I wanted to just pre-record that it's sure and safe that you get the stream out today. So I want to talk about gold cycles, because we did this in February, we did this in June, and we need to update the cycle projections in gold today. That's the purpose here, as shown here in the animation. This session is dedicated to an update in our gold cycles here. That's what I want to focus today. Therefore, let's just review February, June, what have the projections been about. So therefore, I will jump into the past projections, and please review the session which is shown here. We did here live on June 6th about gold and silver. I think this is where we're coming from, and I'm just repeating because it's always important that you have the historical rhythm of dominant cycles in your mind as a framework where we are coming from before we look at the current state of the cycles from today. So this is just, I just show you two screenshots out of that session here. The first one, which was made in this session, is just a recap what we have told you here in February, right? So, and in February, at this point in time, we already showed you that we are in a topping period with a follow-up low in the summer of this year, which is obviously what happened here in June. And then as we have gone further into, this is now the current situation at 6th of June, we have updated these cycles. So we have topped here right on time, and on 6th of June in that session, I told you, or we have updated the projection, that the cycle has still to move more to the downside here. So I warned you that this is not the end of the downwards moves in gold. We still have to move down. That's the first takeaway we did in the June session. And the second takeaway is as you can now see here in the timing window, if I just zoom in here, it projected the low between July and September. So exactly where we are today. And therefore, I want to update now this projection as we have arrived at a very important point in time now for our gold cycles, which really have proven to work out quite nicely, predicting the top in February that we in the topping period, and then it already predicted in February that we could see a downward move into July, and in June, I repeated here on the channel, this is not the end of the down move. So therefore, now we go into the current situation. If you want to rebuild this analysis, I have posted this in the ideas section here. If you visit our app.cycles.org/ideas, which is the public available site here, there's an idea now, and here in the center you see the gold study. So if you want to recap the exact cycles I will show you in a second here, you can open this idea. Even if you are not a member, you will be able to repeat this idea. It's a workbook, it's saved, so I invite you, open the gold cycle study in the ideas section as outlined, and then you can follow what I will now show you here. So let's jump into that study, which I've opened already here in a second tab. And this is just if we now move back to the projection, exactly the same we did here in June. Yeah, so this is where we are in June. This is where we are coming from. We talked about the possible situation that this single cycle here with 113 days could even run further into the period of July. Just review the session we did on 6 June. And the light blue line now shows you what the gold price has been doing until now. I think this is the close from Friday last week. So we arrived, just looking at this projection here, we arrived now in the bottoming window we projected in June here. So what's always important, that we do not trust the static projection we did back in June just blindly. So as we arrived at this window, now it's the time to update the cycle projection if it's still valid, because cycles can vary based on the principle of variation. So the cycle length, the cycle phase could have changed during the last 6 weeks since we did the first projection here. That's now what I want to do with you live on the channel here. So therefore, and this is what the gold cycle study, it's exactly the same. You can open now or just after the session to review it on your own. And I will also post the link to the study here below the video description. So you just can click the link below on the video here. So this is the gold price today. This is the cycle analysis as of today. We have now, since March this year, we have moved down from 2000 to 17 gold price in US dollar here. So, and the question is now, is the cycle we have seen here in June still there? Therefore, I will explain the standard procedure we are doing here. Let's move down to our spectrum. This shows us the current state of active cycles, which have been detected today based on the closing price of Friday. There are two cycles which stand out in the spectrum here. The first one has a length of 114 days. And if you remember the length we have seen in the June session, it has been 113 days. So I would count this is exactly the same cycle we have seen in the June session. So it's still visible, and it's visible as a very active cycle here. So this is the first one to take, and it's very active because the peak is clearly separated in the spectrum here. So this peak stands out, and we have a green triangle, which means the Bartle score is very good, and the size of the triangle is also very large, which means that the strength value or the parameter of this cycle is good. And all these three measures are used to select or deselect cycles. Then the second cycle we could use here is this one here, which has the same parameters here: clear peak, separation, high amplitude. All the other cycles which follow then have an offset, so they are quite below this range here. They are below this range. No cycle peak above this threshold line here. And then we just have blue-red peaks here, which means that the secondary confirmation we would like to see in regards to Bartle score of strength is not given. There would be just one very small cycle here, but this cycle length is too small to really be considered here. So therefore, that's the way how you read the spectrum, and I think it's a clear, objective way which cycles to select and which cycles not to select. So therefore, while now I've explained the cycles to select, we can move to our list of cycles. So here's the first one with a length of 114. I will update this cycle now, and you see this is the current status quo of the cycle with a length of 114. And exactly this cycle showed us in the June session with a length of 113 that we should expect the bottom exactly in this period. So this cycle is still valid. It is still seen. It is still detected in the data set. So this is now an important juncture, and that's the reason I want to bring this to your attention here, as we have now approached the bottoming window. What we are looking for here since February, June update, and now we arrived at this point in time. That's the first cycle we should use here, and for sure we should add the second important cycle. Just to remind you, this is the second peak here with the length of 218. It is a similar cycle length we have seen in June here. Let's also add this cycle here to the mix. The first observation is, and I will now switch this cycle on and off while you can monitor how the composite cycle changes its plot. So now it's off, now it's on. And what I want you to focus on is exactly this bottoming window, which I've just highlighted with this red arrow here. And this bottoming window is not really changing. So don't get irritated by the overall change of the curve. So for example, here, the secondary top, which is protected, there is a big change in that while I activate or deactivate the cycle, right? At least in amplitude, not in terms of timing. Yeah. So I'm just highlighting what is now happening when I'm switching through these cycles. You see now I have just the one cycle activated, and now I have both cycles activated. And in regards to the timing information we derive from this kind of forecast, there's no change in our projection we are doing here. So it doesn't matter if we just use one cycle or both cycles. First, both confirm. So both of these important cycles are more or less in alignment in regards to their bottoming window, which is now. And both cycles more or less confirm then an upswing into, let's call it late September, early October this year. So this is now the current projection if we review current gold cycles, which I think is important. And therefore, I wanted to push out this update here on gold cycles. So the next level you need to do now is please switch to weekly cycles so that you see what the longer term cycle in gold is showing you. And also please try to confirm this when using related metals like silver, so you can see how these cycles align. But this is a topic I would leave out now for you out there to do your own cycle analysis and cycle research. Finally, to fine-tune, if you are interested in entry or exit in these kind of markets, use the information of 114 as dominant cycle length. Use half of that, so 55 to 60 days, if you want to fine-tune technical indicators on your price chart. That's also a takeaway from this session here. So therefore, that's the purpose for today. As mentioned, the link for the workbook here is in the description down below. So therefore, this is an interactive session now after these 15 minutes. I would invite you switch over to the workbook on the gold cycles and just try to repeat what I tried to teach here. Then you get the current picture of gold cycles here. You have the session from June where you can review the longer term pictures, and we will review in October what happens to gold. Finally, that's it for today. Please excuse that I needed to pre-record the session, but we have weather conditions out there, and I'm not sure if my internet connection will be stable at the point at the planned live session. While saying that, I will be on holiday now for the next 3 weeks. I will take a time off with my family. That's also important to spend this time. I will pre-record some videos for you also during the next week so that you are kept updated and get some nice content even in the following weeks. And in 3 weeks from now, we will meet here live again. Please collect your questions until then. I'm really looking forward to have the next live follow-up session with you. I don't know why this is coming in and out. To really have an interactive discussion with you again by end of August. So end of August, I think 21st August, whatever the Monday will be, is the next time for our live session. And I would really like to see you live on stage here with me in August. Until then, I hope you also have a nice holiday and summer season, at least here in Europe. That's now the current point in time. And I will monitor your questions in the video chat and try to answer them. So, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the update on the gold cycles. See you soon and have a nice week. Bye.